Are you someone who judges themselves a lot and that self-judgment can really, really impact you and your confidence? Well, today I'm going to talk about how you can stop judging yourself. So, this episode today came from a request. I was asking for episode ideas, and one of my friends in my network said, can you talk about judgment? Because I found when I've gone through my personal growth journey, I've been judging myself a lot. Now, I'm going to sit here and be honest. I like to be honest as much as possible. I catch myself doing it, right? From time to time. Not as badly as I used to, but I'm a human being. I'm always going to judge myself in some capacity. How it impacts my confidence and my ability to move forward is it's a lot less of a weight than it used to be. And I thought I'd share my perspective on this because my personal experience, and maybe you can relate to this, is sometimes you've got these standards that are so high, right? And you're just really pushing yourself. Now, people call it perfectionism. Now, that's a BS term that's made up because there's no such thing, right? You can't be. Perfectionism is a made up phrase for I'm not good enough. It's not a standard. It doesn't exist, right? So we're not using that word. We're not using the P word. I ban a lot of words like the B word, busy. Everyone's always busy. That's a terrible word. T word, trying. We ban that word as well. Awful word, right? In fact, I should have done an episode on language. That'll probably come in the coming weeks. So you can have standards that are really high, that you're really hard on yourself, right? And that can really put a lot of judgment on you. I've certainly been there. Now, for me, what I think it can be really good in some respects, having such high standards. And it mostly is because it really pushes me to grow as a man. Now, that includes people around me, like my peer group. I've got pretty high standards, right? Not high standards in terms of they need to be like Olympic athletes or seven-figure entrepreneurs, because to be honest, I don't really have anybody in my peer group who's any of those things. Well, I've got a couple of seven-figure entrepreneurs I know, but I would say like my standard of people, I mean like people who make me feel good, who like I can help as well, who I want to be around, right? And it's about growth and contribution. And like I have friends who like not into personal growth, but just cool to hang out with, right? But that's what I say. I also have standards, high standards for who I take on as clients. I don't want someone who's going to like pay me money and then not use what I'm teaching them. I want people who are really committed to what they're doing. Like if people aren't committed, you can't help them. You can't, right? Even if they've got the money to pay you, like if they're not committed. So that's why it's good to have standards when you're looking to getting on clients. Who I decide to like over the years, I've like raised the standards of anyone I decide to go on a date with, right? Now, of course, sometimes like you might be on that in the past, you might be on like a dating app or something like that. And then you're like, okay, this person seems pretty cool. And I don't mean like standards again, like so high, but you want someone with, well, I want someone, who's got similar interests, who's got like drive and ambition and got a personality, right? Now, you get to know someone, of course, down the line, but you got standards, right? And I've also got standards for how people treat me in general. Like, that kind of goes back to the first one, I guess. But it's like, I want to have high standards. But then I have high standards for myself. And I also got to a point of like not allowing myself to make mistakes. Now, I don't want to go out and intentionally make mistakes and like mess everything up. No, of course, who wants to do that? But what I've realized is when I've made a mistake in the past, I've had a lot of judgment. Now, high standards are great, but judgment and pulling yourself back and hurting yourself verbally because you'd made a mistake is completely different. So I really want to talk about that. And I really want to share about something one of my mentors taught me. It really like hit home because I talked about this in a previous episode. When we're really starting out a new skill or trying to really grow in something, there's this frustration point that comes. But you can look at it frustrating like, I'm not good enough, or frustration like, I'm growing because I'm coming up against something that's going to help me grow. So the choice is yours. I've learned from that. But that's when the true growth comes from. Now, what I've realized is if you want to grow, you're going to make mistakes and you're also going to piss people off. You're going to upset people. Yeah. That's all part of it. In fact, I have a friend who's awesome at like working through what people think. And she like just says, what I love about her is she just always states her opinion. One of my friends from the Neuro Encoding Institute I was in, but she just like always states her opinion. Like that's what I love about her. Some people don't like her. I just love that authentic voice. She doesn't go out like her, like if she was attacking people and stuff, I probably wouldn't get on with her because I don't value that. But it's like saying her truth, even if it upsets people. Like, if you don't want to upset anyone, go and live in a cave and like have some food and drink with you and never talk to anyone again, because then no one will know you exist. And that won't be a very fun life, would it? Whatever you do, you're always going to not get on with someone, right? And when I've come to that realization, the better. It's not about going out there and pissing people off, but there's always going to be a chance that someone's not going to like what you say or do. The more you grow, especially. Now, the thing is, I've also realized in terms of judgment is we're trained for comfort. Like, in this world, we are trained for comfort. Like, click of the button, you can get your food, right? Whilst thousands and thousands of years ago, we had to go and hunt for our food, right? Now it's just like a click of the button. Okay. Growth involves risk, and therefore you're always going to have a chance that something doesn't go right. So therefore you're going to have to accept that in advance. It's a better feeling. And there's also a lot of people to compare yourself out there to. So that's where judgment comes in as well. And judgment is the killer of comparison is the killer of happiness, right? So of joy, they say. So don't compare yourself as well. Now I'm going to go into some practical tips now for you to really work through this. Ask yourself this though: how's it helping you by judging yourself all the time for any kind of mistake or anything you do? Because it's probably not a very good place, is it? So let's dive into some tips that I found have helped me. And of course, I still catch myself out judging myself now and then because I'm a human being, right? I might be like, I didn't do that good enough. Oh, come on, Johnny, you know better than this. Well, Johnny, when you got a lot of things on, it's okay. You may miss something in your calendar. I'm terrible with emails. I just accept it. Like, I don't judge myself for that. I'm a really good communicator in general other ways, like speaking to people and communicating with people. But it's like, all right, I'm not very good with my emails. I'm going to look to get better at it. I'm going to, look to get better at it, but it's not a disaster if I don't get great at my emails. Obviously, I'm very good at picking the main ones like my taxes and accountants and key business things. But anyway, let's go into this episode and some practical tips. Number one, this is a really good rule that I've learned has really, really helped me. Outer world follows inner world, not the other way around. I'll say that again. Outer world follows inner world, not the other way around. It's a quote by Peter Sage. What's that got to do with judgment? Well, what it means is that what often, and this is a bit like into this like spiritual kind of scientific approach, but what shows up in the outside world is often a reflection of what's going on in the inside world. People like blame, once you take responsibility for things showing up, and this, like, people don't like hearing this because it means they have to take responsibility for how they're feeling and working on their emotions. And that's hard work. But guess what? That's where growth and true joy and fulfillment comes from, when you really take responsibility for things in your life. So with judgment, you're going to judge yourself the more you have to grow, the more you're growing and more you're building, because that's great. That's great. You're building yourself in life. Maybe you're going for a career, or maybe you're trying something new. Maybe you're going on a new date. Maybe you're in a new relationship. Maybe you're trying a new diet or I don't like the word diet, but new nutritional plan or whatever, right? The thing is, you will have more mental challenges coming up when you go into something new. And therefore, the amount of work you need to do on yourself needs to be up there as well. So it's like you train in the physical world, right? You run like somewhere between 3 to 5K a day. And you kind of, maybe you're not in your healthiest shape, but you're okay. And you can do that like a couple of times a week. Okay, cool. Right? You then enter a marathon. Does the training change? Of course it does, right? You running a couple of times a week for a 3 to 5K is completely different training from running a full marathon. Now, if the demands of your life mentally are going up, in terms of you're taking on a lot more, you're growing, then your mental training, your well-being, your routine in the morning needs to match that. You need to have that self-loving. That's really important, I've realized. For me, breath work, and it's got to be what works for you. For me, breath work is a game changer. I have had to really focus on getting in touch with my heart, because we live in a world where our mind is being, what's the word I'm looking for? Taken over, but it's a better word than that. hijacked by like all of the social media and everything going on, right? It's like, do this, do that. That's the fastest way to do this. You can make £10,000 overnight and all this kind of thing. Oh, that looks good. Oh no, that looks good. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that and that and that. Oh no, I'm really overwhelmed now. I've got too many ideas. Oh, I've got too many courses. Definitely been guilty of all of these, by the way, right? So, I'm coming from experience here. But when you get in touch with something like your heart a little bit more, that's going to make you truly powerful when you can communicate from that place. So start communicating more from the heart and start connecting more to the heart. Start doing more work internally every single day. Because when you do that, you'd have a better relationship with yourself and the judgment's going to be less. So if you're like, I'm having all this negative self-talk, but you've just like upped the amount of growth you're doing in your life, but you've not actually worked on that inner game, well, it's always going to be a challenge, right? And I'm not saying when something really harsh hits you, like, I don't know, some kind of financial thing, business thing, career thing, relationship thing, whatever it is, hits you, or health thing, that it's not going to be tough. But if you've done the inner work, it'll probably be easier to deal with. Not that it's going to be easy, but it'll be less difficult to deal with. Okay, so that's in the first one. And you're not going to have so much judgment if you work on the inner game. The second one, think about anything you've built from or you've grown in. Like, we forget about this. I talked about this in another episode, but it's really important to mention again. I do repeat points because, the more we repeat, the more we're going to embed it, right? And it's often the simple things, but if we don't do the simple things, you don't know something until you're living and doing it, right? But know that anything you've done or progressed in that you built right forward. Think of anyone blessed enough to walk in this world. Think of babies. How many times do they fall over trying to walk? Like, hundreds or thousands. I don't even know what the science is around that or the evidence is around that. But anyway, how many babies fall over so many times before they learn how to walk, or toddlers rather. They fall over so many times. And that's where the growth comes from, right? So it's like, you've done that. If you're able to walk, you've done that. You've grown, right? Maybe you passed a test. Maybe you did something that you never thought you could do. And you were judging yourself. And like, as a baby or toddler, you probably weren't judging yourself because you didn't have all that rubbish come into your head about limiting beliefs and all that kind of thing, all the first 7 years of your life when you're absorbing things. But know that anything you've built has come through growth, right? You had a challenge. So if you've overcome something in the past, you can overcome something in the future. So therefore, that puts less judgment on yourself. Okay, and the third thing, get the right community. If you've got people around you who are pushing you down, not making you feel good, it's going to be very hard to give a good judgment on yourself, and it's just going to have negative judgment on yourself, right? So make sure you got the right people around you. And even if that's online or you've got like a therapist or someone to talk to, making sure you got the right people in your life. There's plenty of communities on things like meetup.com where people have similar interests. So explore that if you're struggling for someone in your life. So get the right community. And then the fourth point, this is a very simple one, but super, super, super effective. Celebrate the action, not the outcome. You can celebrate the outcome when it goes for you as well, of course, but emphasis on celebrating the action, because the more you celebrate and do something for taking the effort and moving forward, rather than judging yourself on the outcome, the more you're going to feel good. You'll be like, yes, I've recorded this podcast episode, for example. Yes, I am amazing. Pat yourself on the back, right? Because the more you feel good about doing something, the more you're going to want to do it. So that's what I got for you today. Just to recap the points on how to stop judgment. Number one, work on your inner game every single day. Outer world follows the inner world. The inner world should not follow the outer world. And again, going back to that, outer world is everything that happens outside of you. Inner world is what happens inside of you. If you're waiting to feel good from waiting for things to happen on the outer world, it may happen, and it does happen, things change, but you've got more power when you focus on feeling good, because when you feel good, you get more ideas and you have more energy, you take more action, and then things show up as well. And you need to work on that more, the more you're progressing, because you'll get mental challenges because you're coming more out of your comfort zone. The second thing, know that you have built skills over before. Like, even if something's hard and you're judging yourself, you have overcome challenges before. And remind yourself, get pen and paper. I didn't say this earlier, but get pen and paper and write them down. Write down like 20 at least. Third, get the right community. If you've got negative people around you, that's how you're going to feel. So we adapt to the people around us as human beings. So that's key. And then the fourth one, celebrate the action, not the outcome. You can prioritize celebrating the action over the outcome. You can celebrate the outcome because it's really key, because it's going to reinforce you to do more of the thing rather than judging yourself. So like I said, that's what I got for you today. I really appreciate you for being here. And remember to lead with your heart and not with fear.